Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Today we bring in Joe Reichfeld. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Morning.
Excellent. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. How about yourself?
Yeah, good. Okay, so guys, what we're going to talk about today is that big debate of selling off of Amazon and how successful you can be with it. Joe's got a load of data. He works with lots of large clients with thousands of SKUs. So he's on a different side of the fence. I need convincing in this. So Joe's going to try and convince me. I want to know more about the data. And the reason I bring this up, and I'm a big advocate of trying to understand this, is because I want to see the proof in most cases. You've got a situation where you've got unicorns like Chad Rubin, who
Mhm.
has got the Skubana software. He's got his own business. He does products that basically create reoccurring sales. And I think 50% of his sales are off Amazon, which is genius. And then on the flip side, you look at like Viral Launch, and I remember Casey Goss from Viral Launch was saying is that he's worked with thousands of different clients, and he said he can't pinpoint any of them that have gone from being on Amazon to then going off of Amazon and actually making a success of it, where it makes a dent in the revenue. You know, quite often they'll get a customer that may get suspended for some reason or has a problem. They go, right, that's it. We've had enough of Amazon. We're going to build off of Amazon. And then they put their team on it, but it doesn't work. It doesn't recover like 50, 40%. It might be 10, 15, 20%. So today, Joe, you're going to go over a load of stuff, aren't you? Because you're sitting on the other side of the table. I'm going to argue the Amazon case for, there's probably, Mr. Rubin is like a unicorn in the space. So for every one of him, maybe there's 1,000 Amazon sellers who are not getting anywhere near that. But we'd like to know how we get there, because we see people selling courses of selling off Amazon, but we need to start seeing some proof. So Joe, what have you got for us? Give us a bit of background.
Well, I work with a lot of larger enterprise-sized businesses that have a lot of SKUs.
Yeah.
It's a mindset. Selling off of Amazon is a mindset. The specific people that you mentioned that may have been suspended and then take their team off of Amazon. They're already in a bucket, and that bucket's got been portioned off to where they have this one avenue to go down, and they're not really, to me, they're not looking at it from the right viewpoint to begin with.
Yeah.
Amazon should be a channel by which you get to your customer, your target client,
Yeah.
not the main. It isn't the whole world.
Yeah.
Amazon's only 43% of worldwide e-commerce. I say only, and the next guy's it's everything. But
Yeah.
in reality, e-commerce is only 16% of total retail worldwide sales.
Right.
That's a really small amount.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook has 7 times the users of Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 1 out of every 7 people. I believe it's 1 out of every 5 in the U.S.
Yeah.
Why would you? So by advertising on Facebook, if you're on just Amazon and you're advertising on Facebook, you're alienating people by not giving them a non-Amazon payment method.
Yeah.
And I'm one of them. I don't buy on Amazon. So if I'm on Facebook, you advertise to me, I want your product, I fall in your funnel. At the end of your funnel, all you offer me is Amazon. I may not close. I may just walk off. Shopify is great. I'm a Shopify partner. I've been on Shopify forever. I've got lots of things going on with Shopify. It is not the solution for everybody.
Yeah.
I've come to realize that there's several different things that you can do to leverage your Amazon account on a small scale, infrastructurally. You don't need that big store. ClickFunnels, perfect example. With ClickFunnels, you can offer multiple payment methods.
Yeah.
You can have something as small site-wise as ClickFunnels or a free Google site.
Yeah.
And you're driving eyes. You're driving, you're driving perception. So to me, moving forward with e-commerce, I think it's to your advantage and to other sellers' advantages to have a Stripe account. To have some buy now type things available to you to be able to offer to the people off of Amazon that you're driving traffic from.
Yeah.
You know, Pinterest is the fastest growing social media market out there.
Yeah.
81% are female. 87% have made a purchase based on a pin that they've seen.
Yeah.
It's a great source. It really is a great source. The one thing that I've been talking a lot about with people, and I bring it up in these Facebook groups all the time. Too many sellers rely on Amazon for what Amazon does, and which is provide traffic.
Yes.
Build your brand and build it by driving your own traffic. Amazon's going to, if you optimize your listing, Amazon's going to give you traffic. Mm-hmm. Build your own brand by focusing, optimize that and then focus on other traffic methods.
Yeah.
So you go off Amazon and you have your YouTube marketing, Pinterest marketing. You can take your instructions and turn it into an infographic and distribute that to the 50-something sites that you can distribute that to. You have the same with your video, and you can drive your own traffic. And personally, I wouldn't drive it to Amazon. I would drive it elsewhere, just because of the fees. I can do it for 4% as opposed to 15% on Amazon. A lot of Amazon sellers don't know anything besides Amazon, so that's why they do.
I think the glaring gap, like say for me and you, right, we've been around the block. So I've run e-commerce store. I've been the head of digital of large ticketing company. We've raised funding. I've run content-based startups with editorial teams. So I've got outside business ventures in construction that is driven by AdWords, is where all the revenue kind of generates from for that said business. So I have background in that stuff. So I've burnt through 500,000. I've made successes. Yeah. So I understand what you're saying where you should. But my thing is, it's the path for the Amazon seller to go next. So let's look at maybe a traditional Amazon seller who's been in the game for the last few years. They may have never run an e-commerce site. Okay. They've only used and leveraged marketplaces like Amazon. So maybe their background is they're good at sourcing or they're good at branding and they've had to learn everything else. Once you start getting into building a Shopify store and you get into conversion optimization and cart abandonment and running data to send in paid traffic, driving organic traffic, writing content, there are all these different jobs and everything. Like what you said is that we pay the fees on Amazon because they turn on the tap as long as we're in a competitive area. Now, the second problem that people face that they're on Amazon, they've sourced products for Amazon, the marketplace. Yes. Right? Now, the chances are that if you've done that, you're building on the demand that is specified for Amazon. If the demand is already on Amazon and they've got the payment gateway and they've got the Prime membership, what chances have you got with lack of knowledge when you're not a conversion expert? You can use sponsored ad because it's like Fisher Price, but you can't use the sophistication of, say, AdWords and harness the display network. That's where the problems start to lie for me, I think, when people look at it. I think Amazon can be like a drug. Pick a really good product, not always easy. Create visibility, not always easy, but doable because it's a lot simplified than it is with more sophisticated off-platform tools. And then from there, the chances are that you can build off of that and grow the brand. But I think what happens is people go on a course and get told about going on doing a Shopify store. And they go, yeah, great. And they go and build a pretty store. It's not built for conversion. It's not built for the call to action. They built it because it's pretty. They've got a designer or a Fiverr. And then, boom, nothing. And then they're like, okay, what's the next? What's the next step? You know,
that happens all day long.
Now, content writing can take quite a long time to build it up. We have a very good content strategy with seller sessions. We publish 2 to 3 times a week. Our content is around, 1,000 words per episode, and we target and market each of those pieces of content with the right keywords and everything else. There's a method behind it, and then people come back to us through the search engines on an organic basis, and then we've got a funnel there. But because we're seasoned at this, we understand how long it takes to drive organic traffic, what to do. But it's a lot of elbow grease to do it right. So if you're a big brand, it's a different story. So my key thing is like, I agree with you. You must have a way of selling off of Amazon. But if people really know what's involved, and I mean really know, what is involved in all of these different steps, because there's a lot of things to put together to make it successful, to get any sort of return on investment, I think people will get maybe a bit more lazy and go, do you know what? It's actually quicker for me to put a new product on Amazon than to deal with all this messing around. Do you know what I mean? Just trying to do this external stuff, because Amazon's made it easy. And then they, I think, will then start to respect, actually, Amazon isn't that bad after all. But I can see the benefits of going to other marketplaces where the traffic's at. But again, you're not protected. And I agree with what you're saying, that you should have an outside presence. But where does that person start?
The quickest way, it's all about eyes on product.
Yeah.
First of all, let me say that most Amazon sellers, my experience with Amazon listings and with Amazon sellers is the majority of them don't optimize. They just throw their stuff up and they get the traffic, and some of them are very, very lucky because they go into very weak categories and they don't have to do a lot to be at the top. Yeah. I really think that most Amazon sellers shouldn't try to leave Amazon, but there's a good portion of Amazon sellers that work very, very hard, and they know their business. Yeah. Those are the people that I don't think Shopify is the right way to go anymore. As much as I like Shopify, you really have to have an established business or have an established system to be able to walk on to Shopify and have a store. But for an Amazon seller that wants to go off of Amazon and build their business, the biggest impact they're going to have right now, in my opinion, is Facebook. Yeah. Facebook is the next easiest system in terms of driving traffic and getting sales. Yeah. I really think that if I was an Amazon seller or somebody asked me, where do I need to go to maximize my sales off of Amazon and grow the way I can on Amazon, it would be Facebook. And it's about mastering Facebook advertising, mastering finding the target. Yeah. There's so many people and there's so much information. We spoke earlier about data sciences and the data. There's so much data accumulated among people that use Facebook. It is to data what Amazon is to traffic.
I think, like what you said, you're right. And you say Facebook as an example. I find that with any of the businesses I've set up, you always find that one channel works the best overall, but you try them all. So, for instance, you might set up when we set up one of the construction businesses, we tested our channels, and it ended up being Google AdWords was the most prominent channel for driving the leads to get the quotes for building out the business. Yeah. But, we'd still go the route of Pinterest. We still tried LinkedIn ads and tried different style campaigns. We used the display network, didn't work. And I think what you have to do is when you do set up, you need to find that other channel. So like you said, Amazon is the channel. That's great. That gets taken care of. But then you might want to go onto your Shopify store or build it on whatever platform that you may choose. Mm-hmm. But then you've got to find that traffic source. But the time to experiment still takes time, because you might find that organic traffic's just not going to pour in. So you might decide to do content marketing around, and you've got a makeup brand or something. You could write loads of content, but it's all got to be keyword optimized. And then you've got to publish a bot. Then you share it with your list, all those different things. And it might take you a year to get up to 100 visits a day. Now, the conversion rate on your website might be anywhere by 0.2 to 1.5. If you're 1.5, you're firing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So for every 100 customers, you may do one acquisition in terms of sales. If you only get, so you might spend a year building something up to drive one sale a day to your website, because inherently the conversion rate on Amazon is far higher than it is, because of the trust levels, than it would be on your own site. Then you've got to take into consideration the cart abandonment and whether you've got the right software in place and the right payment platform to give people the options to pay, and make sure that technically it's set up right, because you don't want to be sending traffic there. They're trying to check out and you're not seeing where the errors are. And going back to the type of products, like we said, we're sourced for Amazon. I think it's key is if you're going to have products selling off of Amazon, you're better off having consumable goods, because then you only have to win the customer once. So if they're going to come back on a monthly basis because you've got supplements or you're selling food or whatever, you want to try and make that work over a spatula, because the cost of acquiring a brand new customer in the beginning is going to be inherently high.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's a great point.
You might need to look at that as well. And also, if you can manufacture the product yourself and not sell it on Amazon, and be more competitive than the people that are selling on Amazon, I think you have got a better chance. I think you've got a better chance of growing your business. So I think a lot of this will come down to the skill set that you have, or the money that you have to spend on these skill sets, whether you outsource it or you spend a year learning it yourself. And I think making sure that you've got consumable goods selling on your site that are different to everyone else will give you a higher, better percentage of success ratio.
I like the consumable goods suggestion. That's a great angle. I still, the investment required, time, effort, money, manpower, it's not there. It's not there on Shopify to build on that way. You need to have a business that you're taking to Shopify. So you really, I wouldn't suggest to anybody that they do the whole Shopify route straight from Amazon at this point.
Yep.
You want to build, you find your, as you say, test your path.
Yep.
What I suggest to people is 30 minutes a day, get an SEO guide about driving traffic.
Yeah.
A regular old SEO guide about driving traffic. You can get them. There's lists, 150 ways to drive traffic, whatever. I set a lot of clients up with that, and I get that commitment out of them to spend 30 minutes 4 times a week, and each time to pick a different topic, and to do that. Back in the day when before the marketplaces, when I did SEO and I did regular e-commerce sites, that is the way to build ongoing traffic. Everybody wants to focus on one thing: PPC, AdWords, banner ads. It's not any one thing that makes a business. It's a combination of lots and lots of little things. Influencer marketing, all the different spokes in the wheel. So, what I suggest to everybody all the time, and it's always worked, is spend 30 minutes a day, 4 times a week. Every single time you do it, you focus on a different avenue, and you put a little bit of effort into it. And then you go back and you revisit them every now and then. That might be 5 visits a day from each one to start, but over time, that builds solid, steady traffic among 30 different channels, 30 different pathways.
Yeah.
You cannot just focus on one thing, and that's really difficult. Mm-hmm. To be able to juggle all that stuff. So really, I push people to go where the traffic is. A lot of people, for a lot of people, it's Amazon, but it's also, there's niches, there's places out there, Facebook, Snapchat. If the products you sold, all the products you sold, were for teenagers, I don't think marketing on Amazon, my kids, for example, you're not going to be able to market to my kids on Amazon, but they'll use Amazon as their final payment method because it's convenient. You're going to market to my kids on Snapchat or wherever they go. Most Amazon sellers that I encounter, they have no clue whether their demographic actually uses Amazon for the final purchase or whether they're marketable on there. So they're wasting their money on PPC. Yeah. They could save money by marketing to them on the correct channel and having a payment method there for them.
Yeah. I mean, going back to, one of the ideas that you could test your products, and this is how, when I've launched businesses in the past, I because of my learnings from building a content team, and it was a social network, it was a ticketing platform, and all these different things, it took so long to build. What I should have just done was set up a landing page and drove traffic to it and measured the results. And that's what I've done since then, where every time I've built a business, I haven't worried about logos and stuff, especially if it's been a service-based business, and half of which would fail from these tests. I'd use a landing page software, like people can use things like lead pages and stuff, run AdWords to it, because off of Amazon, AdWords is very good in terms of in terms of commerce for most business. It depends on what it is, but can work quite well. I know Facebook can, but it's more of a social platform.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas with sponsored ads, you're basically searcher's intent, whereas you're using contextual advertising on Facebook. Right. But you should try both. So I know that, like, say for instance, ClickFunnels, from my understanding, an half decent package that's going to give you the bells and whistles that you actually need to test stuff with, it's like $300 a month. I mean, I know there's basic ones, but I think if you really need to plug in certain tools and autoresponders and stuff like that, you're going to need to take the high-end package. But you might be able to get away with something like Lead Pages or one of these on pages kind of platforms.
I like Thrive Themes personally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't use any of these platforms. For all my giveaways and everything else, I'm using WordPress. I've got a WordPress developer, very good in Eastern Europe. It cost me $10 an hour. You know, I've got him retained, making changes, saves me fiddling around with the site. So I end up having a WordPress. I can build the landing pages and I'll send traffic there. We've got Google Analytics. We've got the opportunity we've got code that's put in there. So when people scroll, we can see how much they're scrolling in percentage down the pages and stuff like that.
So I think basically what Thrive Themes is it's a WordPress system and works. Yeah. It does exactly. A lot of that. Works very well.
Buy yourself a cheap domain, competitions or whatever it is.
Yep.
And you can test before you set up a presence, before you go down that whole route of building the site and stuff, test your market. Go and run AdWords. Go and set up an account. Go and spend $50. And sometimes when you sign up, you get a coupon code for like $100. Go and find one on the web, right? Mm-hmm. Set up the campaign or get someone to help you, because AdWords is far more sophisticated than sponsored ads. Then just put one product there and work on the targeting your keywords and drive traffic. Learn from that. That is the cheapest way and the most cost effective in terms of your time as well, to test if it's going to be relevant. That's how you can test for me. So you might go AdWords, right, that didn't work. Facebook, that didn't work. Let's try Reddit. Let's try Pinterest. Let's try Bing ads. I know it's a secondary marketing platform and only got 15% of the search or whatever, but that might be very reactive for what
Bing ads, depending on the category, Bing ads can be very high converting.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to look at obviously selling off of Amazon, but the debate today and the show is about, well, how do we get our Amazon sellers off of Amazon to sell products, but supply them with the right knowledge, and what are the steps that they can take to do this? Because like you said, Amazon's got 16% worldwide of commerce, right?
4.5%.
4.5%. Sorry, excuse me. So there's 95% out there that we're not taking on board with, right? Mm-hmm. So it's how do we reach that without having that Shopify website that you built, you spent a couple of grand putting together that no traffic goes to, so you've pretty much given up on?
A couple grand is putting it nicely. It's a bottomless rabbit hole.
Yeah.
All of those big systems like that are bottomless rabbit holes. I have a lot of experience leveraging things with very little investment to start. Yeah. So you have to use things to leverage against themselves. I love to leverage Google against itself. Mm-hmm. You can get a free Google site. You can put landing pages on it. Yeah. Google you'll get listed quicker. If you optimize a video and get it on YouTube, you generally, if you SEO it correctly, you can be on the first page of Google for your keywords in under 14 days. You can't do that elsewhere, and that's just putting it on YouTube. Blogger, it's great. It's a great blogging platform. However, also it's owned by YouTube. It's easier to rank a Blogger site than it is a WordPress site.
Right.
Facebook and Google and their properties, their owned properties, account for almost 80% of all referrals happening on the internet right now. That's a lot. Yeah. You have to look at that and leverage that. There are ways to leverage that against itself. In Google in particular, because even they'll tell you they don't give preference to their own sites, but it's too hard to not blatantly see.
Yeah.
So for somebody that wanted to go off of Amazon, you kind of hit on it with don't go to Shopify. Those people that are selling all those seminars and put all your money into this and you're just going to be so busy. Those are the same people that sell the same crap on Amazon. It's rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for I do and I don't feel bad for the seller that goes that route, because it's their own fault, for thinking that it's a secret pill. It's not. It's a lot of work. No matter what you do, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to stay there. It's easy to win the lottery on Amazon, but to win it twice is not. And to make it sustainable is not easy.
Yeah.
So really, go with the one page. The single landing page is the way to test things, and take it to some place where your demographic is going to see your product.
Yeah.
You need to know who your demographic is,
mm-hmm.
and who your competition is and where they are.
Yeah.
I run into a lot of sellers where, I'm brought in by a corporate team to affect their business. But then when you get to the main principal, the business owner, some of these business owners that I deal with are up there in age, and they say, "Oh yeah, Facebook, social media, forget that. That's not anything." Well, as the competition, if I know that about the person I'm up against, I know they're not utilizing those markets. It's wide open.
Yeah.
You need to know your competition. It's all about knowledge.
Well, the one thing that you could do, for instance, you can leverage. You pull your Amazon selling, like your data.
Mm-hmm.
You can pretty much like it's a manual process, but you can pretty much tell men and women apart through names, or Mr. and Mrs., etc. Then you can pull the data by the city. So you can say, right, this product mainly sells to women, and most of our sales have taken place in the state of Washington or whatever. And then you can target your AdWords campaign just in that state. Because obviously you can work off a 1 mile circumference and really dial in and really manage your campaigns that way. And you can have day parting as well. Obviously there's tools out there starting to do that on Amazon for sponsored ads, but AdWords has been doing that for years as well. So you can target to specify to shoppers who are, like, if it's business-based shoppers, then you might do that between 9 and 5 because they're doing it in work hours. Or if they're not, you want to work on the weekend and between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. You can work out and start getting a pattern of when the buying is to save you money in terms of your ad spend. So there are ways
that comes down to effort.
Yeah.
I find with a lot of sellers, it's too easy to not put out the effort.
Yeah.
They're happy with what they get. And they leave a lot of money on the table, which is surprising sometimes for me. Just how lazy some sellers are, but it's easy to get that way when all you got to do is list.
Yeah.
And to get on a category.
The thing is, there's lazy, like, that they don't graft, which I don't believe that's up for the case of most Amazon sellers. I know that people have sold Ponzi scheme and only work 3 hours a week and stuff, but I think most sellers graft. One of the things that they struggle with the most is allocation of time and where it should be spent. Yep. And it's very easy to fall into the trap. Well, I've got the factory. I'll just launch another variation or another product rather than going outside. That's where I would say the determination of lazy is, without offending the audience. It's like you go to whatever's easiest. So to wrap here on the show, right? Let's look through these steps. So ideally, if you are going to launch a product, you want to test it multiple channels. You want to say use the landing pages. If you've got a consumable goods, even better, because your cost per acquisition is a lot lower.
Yes.
Do that stretch before you do anywhere else, because you want to learn what your channel is going to be off of Amazon on your own site. You don't necessarily have to use ClickFunnels. There are other sites out there. Get a WordPress developer, get a Thrive theme, get that set up, run PPC, use Optimizely, split testing software. Bring someone in to help you even set it all up. You might get set up for like $100, $150 just to get up and running lightly. And then you've got your ad spend on top. Work out what your channel is first. Work out the pain points. Have a contact us form on there so you can communicate with your audience. Capture emails if you can. But obviously, your key metric is to go after the one metric. Can I make this item sell? How can I make it sell?
Right.
This can be very key before you have all the bells and whistles. once you're there with that, you can then spread out, can't you? You can go, right, I now know that I pull my Amazon data. They're mostly in the state of Washington. Most of my audience are men. I'm going to run Facebook ad campaigns. I'm going to run it this time of day. And they can really dial in and save themselves some money. It will take a couple of weeks to really work this stuff out if you're not used to this stuff. Or pay an AdWords person for, I think the going rate, hourly rate for an AdWords person is about $25 an hour. You can go to People Per Hour and all these different sites to find those kind of guys.
Mm-hmm.
And that's before you've gone and spent and dumped thousands of pounds to find, or dollars to find out that it didn't work because you haven't got the right product market fit to do off Amazon selling.
I agree 100%. It's it's amazing to me the people that are getting into e-commerce and getting online and selling that don't see this as a business. Yeah. Would you open up an electronics store on the corner without doing your due diligence first? It's a huge investment. And that's what this is. It's either a hobby or it's a huge investment. Make your mind up and do what you have to do. Yeah. It's just too easy to sign up for something and rush in and say, oh yeah, I'm going to try this without knowing what you're doing. Whereas, before e-commerce and all that stuff, you had to put out the effort just to get to that point to sign up, and to try and go down a new avenue. And so you need to know your market. You need to test. It's all about test. I A and B test everything because I like to think I know everything, but I sure know I don't. Yeah,
and quite often with our tests, we're often wrong. I know I am. That's why I just leave it down to the testing, because assuming is all well and good. We've all got opinions, but what really matters is you're trying to generate sales, not confirm your own opinion. So quite often you get caught out. But what's the best way everyone can reach you, Joe, if they want to reach out for consultancy work, have questions, etc.?
My blog on my website is ecommerceoptimizer.com.
Yeah.
And we focus on optimizing your e-commerce across different channels and different marketplaces and driving traffic. And I also own jetprotool.com, which is an API interface to allow a seller to sell on jet.com, and we can make fulfillment automatic through FBA for Jet, eBay, Shopify, Newegg, Overstock.com, several other marketplaces. So I can be reached through either one of those.
Cool. And email address? Do you have an email that people can reach you on?
Yeah, it's info@ecommerce-optimizer.com.
Excellent. Guys, thank you for joining us today. Joe, thank you for all your insights. It's been a great little debate here. Dude. Not a problem. We'll see you again soon. Don't forget, if this is your first time, hit the subscribe button and we'll see you again soon. Take care.
Take care.